So now let's start with one very important concept in human resource management, which is talent acquisition. Some would say recruiting. Yeah. Well, I prefer this term talent acquisition because I divided this into two parts. One thing is, how do we get the people into the door? How can we attract people? And the other thing is, we're going to talk about this in the upcoming session, how can we select the right people? And to me, these are two different stories. Attracting people, bringing people into the door, because this is a major challenge for many companies, especially, as we have learned, for bottleneck functions. And the other thing is how to select the right people. Okay, so this is our focus. I will start showing you the traditional approach of recruiting or talent acquisition, which is primarily about ads. Okay, we'll see. This is the textbook style of recruiting. Very simple. This is what comes to your mind when we think about how to hire people. But then, the major part within this chapter, we will look at some modern approaches. I've shown you last session that most companies really suffer from a significant talent shortage. Yeah. And it will be more dramatic in the future. Okay. So, talk about what can companies do to hire talented people, to attract talented people. And one very important concept is the so-called employer brand. You know what a brand is? We're going to talk about this. It's a promise. Huh? So employer brand is, what does a company really promise to those people that should apply for this company? We'll talk about some search strategies. I mean active search strategies. What is that? An ad, a job advertisement is rather passive, you know. It's passive because you just post an ad and then you wait for the applications to come. It's passive. Yeah. While here it's about active search strategies.
For example, in Germany would be the platform Xing.
Right.
That's where companies can find their employees or interesting employees for them.
Yeah, we have social media. Sorry. We have social media platforms like Xing or probably you know LinkedIn. LinkedIn is more the global platform. It's more or less the same. Yeah. So companies more and more enter these platforms and actively search for people and then approach these people. This is active. Yeah. Why is it required to be active? Because the best candidates are passive. We're going to talk about this concept of passive candidates. A talented, well-qualified, motivated employee is rather passive in the sense that he or she is not looking for a job. Yeah? Once you get employed, you're going to be passive. I hope you're going to be satisfied in your job. You're going to be happy. So if you're happy in your job, if you're doing well, you're going to be a passive candidate. You will not go to career fairs. You will not even look at the job ads. You're going to be passive. The best people are rather passive. So once we have met promising candidates, former interns, for instance, how can we build a relation to these people? How can we retain promising, talented candidates? So this is what we're going to talk about. Okay. Let me start with a more traditional approach. Before we do this, some comments on, there are, of course, always two alternatives in recruiting. The first alternative is that you have internal hirings. Yeah, just imagine you have a quantitative workforce demand. You have an open position or a vacancy, as we name it. One thing is you can hire people from the internal. Okay, you take an existing employee and hire him or her. And the other path is external hiring, hiring people from the outside. Okay. The only message I want to share with you on this, and it's quite obvious, is that there is not the one best way. We can't say that external hiring is better than internal hiring or vice versa. There are some pros and cons related to both strategies. For instance, if you hire from external, whenever you hire people from the external, you bring in new ideas, new perspectives. Yeah, you have maybe more options because there are more people outside than inside. Must not always be the case. Yeah, but on the other hand, it's a much higher integration effort. Yeah? If you hire people from the external, these new employees must cope with a new situation, with a new culture, with the new processes and all this stuff. So it needs a significant integration. We have higher turnover. Yeah? Once you hire people from external, the probability that they leave in the first few months is much higher than when you hire somebody from internal. Okay? Just take home that there are these two paths, and there are some pros and cons related to both. Okay? So, this is the traditional way of talent acquisition, posting an ad. Where can you post an ad? Where? In the newspaper, right. Where else? TV. TV? Yeah, you can, yes. Yeah, you rarely find job ads on TV.
Internet.
Yeah. Sorry?
Internet sites.
Internet sites?
Social media.
Social media? Newspaper?
On buses.
Buses?
Any kind of advertisement.
Everywhere, yeah.
At the universities.
At universities. Yeah. So there are many places where companies can post ads, of course. Maybe the most important places where companies post ads are their career websites, of course, yeah, their own career websites. Another concept, I will not talk about this concept in more detail because you know what these are. Job boards. Can you give me a name of a job board? Monster. Yeah, please visit Monster. Monster.com. Yeah. Hot jobs and so on. Yeah. And then, of course, any type of newspaper. Okay. So, this is how job ads look like. I don't have to tell you what a job ad is. Just indicating real quick what are the typical elements of a job ad. What we have nowadays on modern job ad is an employee value proposition. We're going to talk about this concept in much detail in the upcoming session. But at this point, it's a promise. Yeah, look at these ads from Adidas. What is written there? I can't read it. Shape the future of sport. Yeah, right? Mm-hmm. Something like this. That's a promise. The promise tells you, oh, if I work at Adidas, I will shape the future of sports. Yeah, that's a promise. Okay, with pictures and everything. Then, of course, the job title, job ID, location. What we find more and more is usage of social media in job ads. So here in this case, you can click on a link, which is share this, and then a window appears, and then you can click on Facebook. Once you click on this, you know what happened. You're gonna share this ad with your friends, okay? Or you can Twitter it, you can post it on your LinkedIn profile. The idea is that once people find a job ad quite attractive, they communicate it, they share it, yeah? They spread it, and some companies hope that they get a kind of viral effect on this. It rarely happens, but at least it's an idea which became more and more popular. Okay. We haven't had these things 5 years ago. Then, of course, tasks and responsibilities and all these things. Some companies also communicate attractive points, attractive aspects. What makes this job attractive? Why is it a great job? To add one comment here, I used to show such an ad to managers when I do presentations. And I used to tell them that, this is exactly the wrong way of posting an ad. Why? Hard question, I tell you. What companies used to do, and you will find a lot of examples, for instance, on monster.com, most companies communicate requirements. Yeah? What does the company require from an applicant? It's a wish list. Right? It's a wish list. So, and they assume that people want to work there. All people want to work at Adidas. So they look at this job ad, and then they screen the requirement. And when you still feel that you can meet all these requirements, you will apply. And these companies assume that all people want to work there. But this is no more the case for most companies, because there is a talent shortage. So what more and more companies do instead is they do not really put their requirements on front. They put in front why this job is attractive. Yeah? So this is one thing we're going to talk about when it comes to employer branding. I think in the future, companies will reduce the communication of requirements, but will rather argue why a job is attractive. They have to sell the job. Okay? There is another alternative, and this is not really talent acquisition, but it is related to this somehow. It's contingent workforce. To put it simply, it's not always required to hire people. Sometimes you can simply, let's say, rent people. Okay, this is one alternative. I put it there because you have to understand this idea, you have to understand this concept, and I want to spend 5 minutes really to explain this real quick. What's the idea? There is a supplier on the left-hand side, and there is a company, a client on the right-hand side. There are contingent workforce agencies like Manpower. Go to their website. Manpower, one word, manpower.com. This is a typical supplier. And they employ contract workers. Yeah? They have employees. Yeah? And these employees, the contract workers, get their salary from the supplier. They have an employment contract. It's just like the contract workers would work at this company. But the special point is that the contract workers here, they do not really work for the supplier, they work for the client. Yeah, let's say there is a company like Siemens, and Siemens is building a plant somewhere, and Siemens has a demand about 60 workers for something. Yeah, they simply rent these contract workers. These workers do not work for Manpower in that case. They work for Siemens. They do their job at Siemens. Yeah? And they get direction from Siemens. Siemens tell these people what to do. They guide them. Yeah? The contract worker show their performance for this company. Yeah? But they get the salary from the contingent workforce agency. Okay? And between here, in this case, Manpower and Siemens, there is, of course, an agreement about multiple things, and Siemens is paying a fee to the supplier. Okay? This is, in a few words, the fundamental idea of contingent workforce. Now, just a question. If the contract workers earn, let's say, 10 euro an hour, how much will the company pay to the supplier?
more than 10 euros?
More than 10. How much?
I would say 20.
20, exactly. Yeah, as a rule of thumb, yeah, it's twice as much. So the company pays 20 euro to the supplier, and the contract worker at the end gets 10 euro. Why? Why do companies do this? I mean, they could easily hire these contract workers, pay, let's say, 15 euro, and they would be better off.
It takes much less time to get the contract workers than
Oh, yes.
hiring people.
Yeah, it's much more easy to simply rent the workers. You can have them immediately. Yeah,
But there is a certain problem. I worked for such a company. I worked for Randstad, which is same
Randstad.
concept.
Yeah, it's the same concept.
But the thing is, in these companies, people come and go like every week. I heard from the workers they are so frustrated because they have to teach their new workers. I was there for a few weeks,
Yeah.
so I could learn and do the job. But some people change after a day. So
Yeah.
the companies may have some profit from it, but on the other side, they get all the time new workers who don't know the job.
Loyalty is low. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
If you hire those people and you need them for one project, you can't get rid of them.
Right. Yeah. You hire these, and you don't need them anymore. You can't get rid of them. Yeah. So it's about flexibility. Yeah. Companies are ready, willing to pay money just to have flexibility. Okay. Let's start with some more. Continue with some more methods. Career fairs. I mean, you all know what a career fair is, right? We even have one on our campus once a year, the so-called Campus Day. The idea is simply, companies come, they have their stand, their booth, and present their jobs, their offers. So that's it. But let me share some comments on this. If I ask companies, employers, does it really pay off to spend days at a career fair? Does it really pay off? I mean, you have the booth, you have to pay for this. You spend days here, yeah. Yeah, does that pay off? The answer is probably no. So the question is, why do companies do this? Yeah, why don't they work as expected? So you need to understand some points here. Yeah, of course, there is the advantage that companies can get in direct touch with employees, with future employees. We can have a direct communication. But this is rather a benefit for you, yeah, as graduates or students, than for the companies. Yeah, I mean, for you it's really an advantage, and I really would recommend you to visit career fairs. Yeah, but when you go there, for instance, to the Absolventenkongress to Cologne, you should go there. Really, have a plan. Yeah, have a target list of companies which you want to visit, and be prepared, and have a one-page CV with you. Yeah, okay. Have maybe some questions prepared which you want to address at the different companies. If you act like this, you can really benefit because you can get in direct contact to the company, to people. If you go on a website, on a career website of large corporations, you will hardly find names on it. You will not find email addresses on a website. You will not find any email address on the website of Deutsche Bank. Yeah, never. But here, you can exchange business cards, you can shake hands, you can have a chat, and then you can link to this person via LinkedIn or Xing, so you can build relations on this. This is an advantage for you, primarily. Yeah. More and more companies do some kind of immediate pre-selection. You will hardly find this in Germany, but in some countries it can happen. You go to the booth, you have a conversation, interview, and if it's all well, yeah, you go to the séparé, have a latte macchiato, and sign the contract. Yeah. Okay. That happens in some countries, rarely in Germany. A good point also for you is there that you really can compare. Yeah? You can compare KPMG with PwC, with Ernst & Young. They are all there, and you can talk to these different companies all in once, more or less. Yeah. If you want to go to the automotive industry, okay, there is Audi and there's BMW. You go to Audi, you talk to them. You go to BMW and talk to them. Then you go to Daimler and talk to them. You can compare. That's for you. That's really great. Yeah. But the point for the companies is that they really have only limited contact to passive candidates or passive seekers. I will come to this concept more later. But at this point, I just said that the best people in the labor market, they have a job. They don't need to go there. Yeah? They are passive. The people who go there are those which are maybe students, it's fine, or they are unemployed, they are desperate, maybe. But these are not primarily those people the companies want to meet. You know? And if you are on such a fair as a company, and I spent a lot of days on these fairs, you know, you have maybe 100 contacts a day. And 90 contacts are, I want to say, useless, yeah, because every human connection is useful somehow. Yeah, but not in a sense that you really want to hire people. And to be honest, really, sometimes you stand on the booth and you look at some person passing by and you think, oh, I hope this person don't want to talk to me. Oh, hello. And these people are trained how to get rid of people, how to run a conversation that it will end definitely after 2 minutes, because you don't want to lose time talking to a person where you definitely know you will never ever hire this person. A gardener, yeah. I want to apply a 50-year-old gardener who found out that he or she has a talent for software development or something like this. And but you're, as a company, you're passive. You're waiting for the people to come, and you can't really approach people. You cannot really approach those people you want to meet. Okay, so this is really a downside. That's why companies more and more also offer additional services to attract the people they want to attract. Yeah, for you it's great. For the company, it's let's say limited benefit. But why do companies go there, even though the benefit is rather limited?
Well, you said that only 90 of those 100 contacts are useless, so I suppose that the other 10 will be useful. And
yeah, there are 10 which are quite useful. Maybe there is one person which you're going to hire at the end, and if you make this, it pays off. Yeah, sometimes it pays off. Yeah.
Maybe it's good publicity because there's always going to be a newspaper report.
It's about publicity. Yeah, it's about public relation. I mean, I told you, I worked for SAP and I was responsible for recruiting globally. And we always asked ourselves, should we go to that fair? And the answer was always, we have to, because it would be a bad message to public or to the labor market if SAP would not be there. That would mean that doesn't SAP hire employees? Doesn't SAP go well, or is there any problem? So you have to be there just to be there, yeah, to show the world you are still there, yeah, and you do well, yeah. Okay, so for a company like Audi, they couldn't stand to say, well, there is BMW, there's Daimler, there's Porsche, all these companies, but we are not. They rarely accept such a situation. Okay? A next concept which you should know is what we name executive search. Yeah? Maybe you have heard this term headhunter. You might have an idea about what that really means. Let me explain. what it really means, okay? Executive search means that you as a company, you do not only hire, it's not only your effort to hire people, you work together with a consulting firm, you work together with an agency. And this agency, this consulting firm helps you to find the right people, okay? And executive search, in German Personalberatung, yeah, they used to fill executive positions. So when we talk about really top-level positions for executive boards, Vorstände, managing directors, general manager, sometimes you will find ads, okay, in some leading terms like Zeit, Economist, or so. You will find an ad sometime, but this is only a small proportion of all these positions which are about to be filled. Okay, most positions on these levels are filled through executive search. In most cases, secretly. Yeah. The other people in the company do not really know that the company currently is looking for a new executive. Yeah. Sometimes even the current job owner, the current job incumbent, does not know that the company is looking for a new person. Yeah. Okay. I would recommend that you visit some websites of the leading executive search consultancies. Probably the biggest one, the leading one is Egon Zehnder International. Go to their website. Very powerful company. Yeah. All of the consultants at this consultancy are former executives. Yeah. Heidrick and Struggle, Russell Reynolds, Korn Ferry, and Germany Kienbaum. These are the very famous, globally operating executive search firms. Yeah. Again, go to their website. You get a little bit of spirit, a sense of how they act and what they promise. Now let's have a real example. Give me a name of any company you like. BMW. Okay. Now let's just assume, BMW is looking for a new CFO, okay? Chief Financial Officer. Question number one, how much does a Chief Financial Officer earn in a year? Sorry? Million? Okay. Million. 20,000 in a week. 4,000 in a day. 400 an hour. Okay, other guesses? 1 million? Less? Who says less? Who says more? Okay. That's good. Yeah, I would agree. 1 million should be fair. Yeah, let's say about 1 million. Yeah. Now, if a company like BMW is looking for a new CFO, you will hardly find an ad. Yeah, they won't do this. They will work with an executive search firm. And the question is now, how many does the executive search firm earn to help this company finding the new CFO? Indicated here, it's 1/3. Yeah, 333,000 euro. That's a lot. Yeah, just for helping the company to fill this particular position, and especially for BMW. I mean, it's an easy game to find a CFO for BMW. Yeah, here, 33%. What you need to know, and this is special about this entire business, if BMW engages in executive search firms as well, Egon Zehnder or Heidrick Struggle, please help us to find the CFO, even when they stop doing this search because they found an internal candidate, they will pay. Okay? This is what we also call a retained search. You will pay. If you engage an executive search company, independent from any result, independent from where the journey goes to, yeah, you pay 1/3 of a total target annual salary. Okay? That's special. And in most cases, they don't use ads, as I said. They do active search. What does that mean, active search? That means that these companies, they have researchers, people which do nothing else than just search the market. Yeah? They spend a lot of time in the internet. They have huge databases about people. Yeah? Whenever you talk with an executive search consultant, yeah, they always ask you about people in your company. Who is reporting to whom? What is the name of okay, make notes. They always collect names. So once it comes to the situation that they have to fill a position, they always have this backup. They have these databases from where they can tell which person might fit to this particular position. Okay? This is executive search. And now let's have a look at the entire process. Again, we assume BMW is looking for a new CFO. And BMW engages Heidrick & Struggles to find the new CFO. We will always have the same process. It starts with a kind of briefing. Yeah? The executive search consulting firm, together with the executive board, the CEO maybe, or the head of HR, they determine what are the requirements the future candidate should meet to fill this position. Okay? So in other terms, you create a profile. Okay? And the next step is that jointly, the consulting firm together with the company, with its client, they think about what are relevant target companies. What is a target company? A target company is a company where you think you might find the right candidate. Now, when we think of BMW, what do you think? In which companies could you find the right CFO? Audi, yeah, Daimler, yeah, Porsche, and all the other companies in the same industry, of course, yeah, but not necessarily. Yeah, can also be other companies. Yeah, at the end you have a list of, let's say, 30, 40 target companies where you think, well, I think we can find the right candidate in this company, this company, this company. There is a term which is important, the so-called off-limits. When you deal with executive search, you have to understand this concept, off-limit. Let's just think about the case that you work with Heidrick & Struggles, and you come to the point saying, well, Audi could be a good target company for us. Let's look whether we find the right candidate at Audi. If Audi is also a client of Heidrick & Struggles, Heidrick & Struggles will not approach a candidate at Audi. Yeah? So an executive search company will not help a client to fill positions and at the same time approach people there. Yeah? It's not allowed. They have certain agreements. So we at SAP, for instance, we engage executive search firms only to protect us from them. Yeah? Once they work for us, they will not be allowed to get in touch with our people. Yeah? This is what we name an off-limit. Okay? So, then the candidate search starts. Maybe, there is a target company. And we want to get in touch with the CFO of this target company. Okay? Sometimes say, well, beyond these target companies, we also screen the market. Maybe you find a candidate somewhere else. And as I said, these researchers, they use their databases, they use the internet, they use everything. Their personal networks, of course, and they have strong networks. They use everything to find the right candidate. And this is sometimes special. Yeah, I mean, this is really a special business. And sometimes it can happen that executive search companies, even though they are quite serious, they act in some strange way. So just think about, you want to get in touch with the CFO of a company where you don't know who the CFO is. Now just imagine you want to get in touch with the CFO of Audi, as we said, but you don't really know who that is. At Audi we probably know, but just in case we don't know, how to get in touch with this person?
Probably about pretending to be interested in someone you know and then get the information you need.
Okay, you use your own networks to
Yeah, probably get in touch with someone at Audi and you pretend to want that.
Yes, yeah, that's a good way. That's a good way. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Or you use spies, you just have employees who are going to work for that company.
Yeah, spies, yeah. Okay, you have employees working for this company and they have to spy around. Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah. Probably they do this. They have cover stories, right? I mean, the easiest way is you just dial an extension of the company, not the 0, because once you dial the 0 at the end, you will end the reception, and you can't get through. If you call into a company like, oh, you say, well, can I talk to your CFO? The lady, probably a lady, will ask you, who are you? Is our CFO expecting you to call? Yeah, what's the matter? And if you don't really have clear reasons, you will not put through. So you will have no chance. You just call in. So you don't dial the 0. You dial any kind of extension. Okay, so and you don't know where you end up. So, hello, I'm Mr. Pfister. Where am I now? Okay, purchase. Well, that's weird because it's the 3rd time I try to talk to the CFO, and every time I call in, I end up somewhere in the company. Is there anybody in this company who is able to put me through to the CFO? I tell you, it's important. Yeah. Oh no. Moment, just please put you through. Yeah. It's sometimes funny how they act. Okay, then you get in touch with the CFO. Hello, this is Mr. Pfister. Can you speak? They always must ask this question first. Can you speak? Should we call again in the evening? You can give me your private mobile and I'll call you in the evening. It's about a position. I'm not allowed to tell you the name of the company, but it's a big car manufacturer headquartered in Munich. Okay, and it's the CFO position. Are you interested? Oh, yes, sounds great. Let's talk in the evening. Okay, I'm going to talk again. And the first contact is about telling whether there's interest, whether a candidate is really motivated to change his career. If this is the case, they meet personally somewhere, in a hotel lobby in Paris, at a highway restaurant somewhere. Okay, and if it's all fine, the executive search company will present some profiles of the most suitable candidates to the client. And the client, at the end, will decide whom to invite to the interview. In most cases, there are 3 candidates which they select, and then they do regular interview. As always, check some references. With the reference, you check, okay, this candidate has worked for Audi, for Bosch. Now maybe we can talk to his manager when he was at Bosch, and just find out whether he or she did well. This is a reference. Also, executive search companies help the candidate to negotiate the salary and the benefits, the stock options, and all this stuff. Because they get 1/3 of it, right? In some companies, you have something like a sign-on bonus. A sign-on bonus, it's not only related to HR. A sign-on bonus is whenever contracts are signed. You know what that is? Okay, there is a candidate for the CFO position at BMW. And BMW and the candidate, they are close to sign the contract. And they meet, yeah? The candidate together with his wife or her husband, or and there's the executive board, and there's champagne, and now they sign. And before the candidate signs, he says, "Well, I'm so happy that I'm gonna work with you. It's so great. I totally look forward to working with you. But you know, there's one thing. I have to relocate from Paderborn here to Munich, and you know, my boat, my house, and all this, you know. To make long story short, I would say you pay me 100,000 now, and I will sign." The CEO will say, "Oh shit." Give him the damn 100,000 and we're done, because I don't want to start this process again. Yeah? This is sign-on bonus. Yeah? Is that legal? I don't know. Is that explained in any textbook? Probably not. Does it happen? Definitely. Yeah?
But if it's so hard to find a qualified people for that specific job, and they already work in a company and probably earn well and all that, why should they do all this, like meeting and do an interview and then wait and blah blah blah? Aren't they in such a high position that you have to be like lucky if one of them is willing to change, and you probably have to apply him or her right now? Are they really willing to go through the interview and meet and then probably talk to the former bosses or stuff like that?
Yeah. So the question is, do these candidates, are they really willing to go through all this process? If they are already on a high level, shouldn't they be happy? Yeah. Is that related to this question?
Yeah, it's an answer. Possibly.
Okay, please, an answer. Here comes the answer.
I suppose, because I know such a case, and sometimes also somebody in a very, very high position is unhappy because he might do a really good job and have lots of benefits, but on the other hand, he might not be happy with his job because he's not supported by the even higher bosses, because maybe he's an export manager and he wants to expand the market for the company, but the company does not support him because they want to stay in Germany or whatever.
Yeah.
So he's very frustrated.
You cannot assume that all managers on certain level are happy. Yeah. These guys are ambitious, yeah, and there is always something better, always. Yeah.
I would like to give an example.
Yeah, please.
Like Marisa Mayer, the vice president of Google Communications, she was given the CEO position for Yahoo, and she moved on.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. Okay.
It's also for a career. You can't stay in one place the whole time. You have to change jobs.
Yeah. You can expand your experience. Yeah. You can expand your profile. Having spent time in different industries, in different countries, on different jobs, that really increases your, let's say, market value. Okay. Good. This was executive search. These are really the traditional ways: ads, career fairs, executive search. We have had this approach since decades. Yeah. And when we talk about these new ways of how companies hire people, how companies acquire talent, this picture gives you an overview. And what I will do is I will talk about 4 building blocks. We will talk about employee value proposition. We will talk about active search strategies. We talk about candidate retention and positive candidate experience. These are, in my eyes, really the 4 major building blocks companies intensively think about. Okay? So, what is target group definition? That relates to the question, what are our key and bottleneck functions? Right? What are our key functions? What are the bottleneck functions? And coming from there, we do all these 4 steps. Okay? So, what's the problem? Whom of you would like to work at a company like BMW? Who could imagine working at a company like BMW? If the job is great, if salary is great, everything, who would like to work at BMW? Okay. Who would like to work at Festo? Okay. Festo? Who knows Festo? Okay. Festo is near Esslingen, which is near Stuttgart. It's a great company, a great employer. But the problem is, many people hardly know this company. So the point is, if people don't know the company, they will not apply there, right? You would never apply at a company which you don't know. But even though you know the company, the question is, would I love to work there? Has this company a great image? I mean, we know a lot of companies out there, but they have a bad image. You remember Schlecker? Yeah? Bad image. Even though you know this company, which is great in the first instance, you would not work there because company reputation is really bad. But even though company's reputation is great, yeah, is the reputation as employer also great? Yeah? That's a difference. The first thing is about the reputation of the company as such, but the employer image, is it really a great employer? That's a different question. But even though when the employer image is great, does this company really offer great jobs? So if you think, well, BMW, I know this company, great employer even more, do they really offer attractive jobs? Even though, would you apply then? Even if you apply, will you really go there once you get an offer? So what you see is there is a kind of funnel. And if employer image is bad, the proportion of those people that ultimately apply becomes less and less. Okay? So this is really a crucial point, and this is crucial for many, especially small and mid-sized companies out there. Festo, yeah, Rena in Furtwangen, great company, so successful, technology leader. Who knows this company? Okay, so in the first step, the question is, what do people out there think about a company? Do they know the company? If this is not the case, then people will not apply. So this leads us to a topic which is really crucial, and many companies think about this. It's about building an employee value proposition, building an employer brand. So this is a key term, employer brand. So let's talk about this for some minutes. Here on this picture you will find some brands, right? I guess you all know these brands. Now, this is a marketing question. What is a brand? You should know what a brand is. Even if you don't know the exact definition, how would you, in your own words, how would you define a brand? Yes.
A brand immediately triggers information.
Right.
It triggers even an emotion.
Yeah.
In a person. You immediately think of what it stands for, how I stand.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yeah. A brand triggers something, some ideas, emotional ideas, functional ideas. Some things come to your mind immediately once you think about a brand, right? And this is intentional.
I think a company which has made a name for itself in a particular field.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So let's have some example here. Red Bull. You all know Red Bull. Red Bull is about all those things teachers hate. Yeah. The conservatives. Red Bull is about crazy stuff, doing crazy things. Yeah. I mean, Red Bull, the product, that's something you can drink. And that has to do nothing with any emotion. But Red Bull is linked to some special ideas, doing crazy things, right? The same is with Marlboro. Marlboro is about freedom and adventure. And now with a new campaign, being something, don't be a maybe. Yeah. But sorry, we talk about cigarettes. Cigarettes have no link to any emotion or something else. It's just cigarettes. But what companies try to do is they link the name, the logo, with some ideas. Nivea is about care. Puma is about sportive lifestyle, right? Could you wear Puma clothes at a party? No? Yes, you can. Can you wear Adidas at a party? No. Puma boutique, a Puma store is like a boutique, yeah, while an Adidas store is like a sports store, right? SAP is about reliability, innovation. Apple is about design, innovation. H&M is about what? Cheap, fashion, young. Right? It's different from Hugo Boss. So you see, every brand is linked to something, and this is intentional. The companies have invested a lot of money to link their name, the logo, to some very concrete ideas, and I would like to put it a little bit further. It's about a promise. A brand is about a promise. If you buy an Apple product, you have the product with the best design, the most innovative product. That's the promise. If that's true or not, you decide as a customer. But that at least is what the company wants to, how the company wants to be seen, and how the product should be seen. So this is about product brand. It has nothing to do with HR, right? It's about the product, it's about the company, and on the left-hand side here, you find these typical dimensions, which we can look at when we talk about product brands or company brands. It could be about price, could be about quality, could be about design, innovation, prestige, and so on. So this is product brand. Promise related to the product. On the right side, that's a different story. So the question here is, why should I eat something at McDonald's? Why should I buy an Apple product? Why should I go for a Mercedes? But here, it's about the question, why should I work at McDonald's? Why should I work at Apple? And here, the dimensions are different. Totally different things you need to consider. So, of course, there are also the products that come into play. Some people would like to work at Porsche because they like the products. Some would like to work at, I don't know, at Gucci because they like the product. But many people would like to work at Gucci because they have interesting tasks, or you get some offers like career opportunities, free lunch, a company car, great salary. Some people would like to work at a certain company because the people there are great, they are highly qualified, they are smart. Some people would like to work at a company because they share some relevant values. Yeah, you'd like to work with a company because the people there, they trust each other, they have fun, they are open-minded. So on the right-hand side, you see typical dimensions that rather relate to employers. So please see the difference. When we talk about products, we talk about different dimensions than when we talk about employers.